call the Walton Brown Board of Education regular meeting to order. If everyone will please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, moving into roll call, let the record reflect all board members are present. Next, we have the approval of the agenda. We have a first. First by David. Discussion or questions? We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into our informational items, our spotlight report, our retirees.
Board members, May is always a bittersweet month. It's a time for celebration at the, for the end of the school year, and it's also a time when some folks decide to stop looking at that green grass on the other side of the fence and decide to take a walk through it. So we wanted to recognize 3 individuals tonight who are retiring. First 2, unfortunately, could not be with us, but those are Bob Arlinghouse, a bus driver. He has driven for Walton Verona for the last 8 years. He's also, I believe, a Vietnam veteran and an alumni. I believe he graduated from Walton Verona in 1968. The other is Brack Harold, who is a middle school math teacher. He's been with us for 21 years. He began in 2004. So 2 very special folks who will be missed. The last person this evening that we want to recognize has been Pam Saylor. She began her teaching career at Mason Corinth Elementary in Grant County and transitioned to Walton Verona a couple years ago in 2022. Her career spans over 27 years, and she's been a wonderful addition to our staff, and we will miss her, but maybe not for long. So come on up. We're gonna get your picture. This is kind of the. Here we go. This is it.
Thank you for coming. If you have other plans, we will not be offended if you want to leave, Ms. Saylor.
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally up to you if you want to stay, leave. But thank you for coming and congratulations. I hope I can retire someday.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next moving into our audience of citizens. Looks like we have none. Next, our second discussion of the code of conduct. So do you want me to start or do you want to start?
I'm ready.
Okay. So everyone should have received the email. Sorry, I don't have it pulled up to tell you exactly what section it is. Thank you, Dr. Baker. But we need to discuss the language in the code of conduct that talks about excessive outstanding fees. So as we all know, we saw that there was some stuff going on in our code of conduct that just says excessive fees, and then you can't participate in certain things like dances and proms and graduation. So instead of excessive, I think that gives us a gray area. We need to come up with some type of dollar amount. Because as you guys saw the amounts that we have, there are some that are definitely excessive. So I will open it up to your thoughts.
I thought we had it at $100, anything over 100. I don't know why that number sticks out in my head, like years ago, when it all came forward the first time about the lunch fees. I thought we said $100, and that was like no sports, no dances, no any kind of reward type thing, but it had to be 100.
I remember we've talked about it before, but I don't think it's ever made it into a code of conduct. I think it's something that like it'll come up and when people are like, I can't believe that, and then we like band-aid it and fix that, but then we don't like fix the system. That's my recollection.
Can I ask how it works with, a student gets $10 behind, $30 behind, $50 behind, $100 behind? I've seen some of those on there that are $500 and higher, there's a couple $1,000 on there. Do we not, and I ask because I don't know, if a kid is $500 behind and they come in and still want a lump, we still feed them, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
That's what
The
this
same
spurred
meal,
from.
the same
Right.
meal. that-
Okay.
Yeah, this spurred from because in the beginning, when they were behind, they started going in and the kids would get a brown bag lunch with a peanut butter sandwich and an apple in it. And of course,
I see.
that was them being like, because of the parents' lack of
Yeah.
whatever,
But
paying or
just-
not doing what they
Just so we're
want.
all on the same page, if you get free lunch, you obviously is free. The reduced lunch price is 40 cents.
40 cents for lunch, 30
So-
cents for breakfast.
These aren't the free and reduced lunch children.
Or are they qualifying, but the paperwork just hasn't been filled out? Because obviously, we can't fill that out for anyone, correct? Because there's certain information that we need from the parents in order to get that paperwork completed. So no matter how many times we send it home, maybe some of those qualify, but we're just not getting the paperwork back to get them on the program that could use it.
Sure, so
If I could interrupt, just, my apologies.
No.
I'm pretty impressed with what we do in this district, from the district office, K-12, to address this issue, to ensure that we're getting those forms back in for students who qualify for free reduced lunch the previous year, to make sure that we're getting those forms, to reminding students and parents when there's an outstanding balance. So I asked Margaret, our food service director, to be here with us this evening, and principals, if you would like to chime in. It's just, I feel that we do a good job of informing people of how this works and reminding people on a regular basis in multiple formats, email, phone calls, letters. So I almost, if someone has a $700 or $800 balance, they are blatantly taking advantage of this, in my opinion.
And we have it readily available when they pick up their schedule, there's a little table about it. I mean, all the schools do a good job of getting it out.
Do we, when a student gets X number behind, do we contact parents at all, phone, email?
So anyone who has over a penny negative balance, they get an email every week letting them know that. If they're part of my school bucks, I can set notifications when their balance falls below $10, $5, and it will notify them. We work with FRC, we work with principals. If there's a family that they think might qualify and maybe they need a little extra help, we send out Spanish free and reduced forms in other languages for families that might not speak English. We do online applications now, so families don't even have to worry about free and reduced forms falling in the hands of teachers and other administrative staffs that come directly to me, and they're processed. So we even do QR codes. So a lot of times at open house, they can scan that QR code and they can do it on their phone. They can do it at the soccer field. So I feel like we're doing a lot of things on our part to make sure we're not missing them, but some of these balances, they're not even trying to pay it off and they're not filling out the forms. So that's where our problem is, because we have over $13,000 in negative debt, which makes it hard for us because that's a month of food and, everything's quite high now too. So we're trying to keep the prices low, but you can't go anywhere and get what you get in our cafeteria. You go to McDonald's, get fries and a Coke, you're gonna pay $6.24. They're getting a full meal. And we never deny a meal. They get, as long as they take a reimbursable meal, no child will ever go hungry. And I don't wanna go into offering alternative meals because I feel like it's not the kid's fault a lot of times. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I think that was the challenge of all of this, because it's not that the kid's fault, and then to punish a kid to go to I think it's called not a dance. Yeah. Man, that's, I'm not a fan of that. I know that.
Do we track our resolution efforts? Like, is there a spreadsheet somewhere that says this child is $10 behind, we've emailed this many times, and we've spoken, like, we called the parents, did we speak to them, yes or no? We had a first agent reach out to them, yes or no, like, do we track that? I know we do all those things, but I didn't know if we tracked it, because, well, one of the things I'm thinking is, there's probably a percentage of these families that, like, really are struggling, but they may be embarrassed to ask for help, even though we've told them 20 different ways they're trying to get the help. And there's gonna be a percentage of people that are just taking advantage of it, because anytime there's any system where you could take advantage, like, people will take advantage of those systems regardless. But I think if there's anything we can do to further, like, not stigmatize it, like if you make it part of some, like, fun event, or maybe we, like, push these things at AR nights or things like that to try to, like, really bring people in and make sure we've helped, at least done our absolute best every single way to help every single family that needs it. And I'm not saying that we're not there now. I feel like we're probably 90% of the way there now, but that last 10%, like, if there's something we can do, just push that over, that may be beneficial.
Are we making physical phone calls, or are we just email? Are we
Making phone calls
So
also.
we have made phone calls too, and I've actually had FRC get involved with families that they're familiar with and that too, where they have that personal connection. So, and we have gotten responses that way. Right now, I feel like a lot of ours are just, they're not, we're not getting a response.
Because I think, I mean, we could sit here today, tomorrow, and put the limit on it, $100, $200, or whatever. I don't think that solves our collection issue of getting the actual money. I think we still have that issue, because if they're not gonna pay it, they're gonna take advantage of it. They're just gonna tell their kid, you're not going to the dance. You're not doing it. So I think our collection issue of getting the $13,000 that's owed is still an issue. I don't know, and the kid gets penalized all the while for a parent that's probably not going to pay it. If you owe 100, you don't care that you're going to owe 200, and you're just not going to care. I don't know, that's the way that I see it, but so the answer.
Also, in my experience, in every district where I've worked, this has been an issue, and I dare say every district in the state wrestles with this to some degree. And it's one of those problems that there's not a perfect solution. You just try to do the very best you can to notify people time and time again. It's unfortunate. Dave's right. There are some families that may just be struggling. There are some others who are intentionally taking advantage of the system. I don't think the perfect answer regrets in both of those situations.
The Not a Dance, is that a PTA sponsored event?
It is.
No, that's school.
It's school, okay. I
Sorry.
thought it was that was gonna be one of my questions, was like, do we have the ability, like, if PTA sponsors an event, do we have the ability to even restrict kids, even if it says something in our code of conduct? Because I think by Red Book, you have to offer a benefit that's to all the kids across this district or across whatever school you're in.
Yeah, and I'm obviously not an attorney.
Yeah, me neither.
My answer to that would be it's still on school district property.
Yeah.
It's still, we're paying those bonds, we're paying that insurance, so we have at least some degree.
I just don't know how that impacts Red Book,
Yeah,
because
right.
then if we do something, then if we do something that causes the PTA organization to violate Red Book, like,
Right.
that's not good either.
Right.
And I don't know if it does or not.
So I mean, what we're trying to accomplish tonight is to have that discussion about the limit that we want to set on it?
Yeah, so later on in the agenda, we're approving the code of conduct. So once it's approved, it's gonna start, go and get printed, or some printed. We had a conversation about making it electronic. But some of it is gonna be printed, so we need to have whatever changes we're gonna make.
So we need to figure that part out, the dollar amount, right?
My request is just to get clear direction from the board on how you want us to handle this. As Heather said, there is some ambiguity there on what the dollar amount is. That's part of this. I think at the very least, if we could decide on a dollar amount tonight, that would be helpful. And I've made a note this so we can document all the things that are happening a little better.
And right now, is it, so obviously, it was set where they can't go to the dance, not a dance. What else is restricted? Can they play sports if the money's owed? Can they, or is it?
Nothing, like no proms, no graduation, no.
And a part of the problem is, I think I put it in the emails, by the time the student, you get to May of the senior year, you gotta take care of all this stuff before you can walk across that stage and the pressure's on. So I don't disagree, that it doesn't make a lot of sense to punish a young child for what the parents may or may not be taking care of. At the same time, I've been in that high school principal seat, and I'm sure Adam can attest, that's a really difficult hand to play.
I can attest that the notification system works, or at least it did work for me. And it's easy, even if somebody has the money, for your kid to get $10, $20 in arrears before you even realize it. So like, I have 5 kids going through the school, and there was a point in time where all 5 of them were in the school. And so, some kids can be trusted with money on an account that they can just charge from, others can't because they just charge infinitely. So then I would give some kids money and some kids an account. And I have so many other things that I have emails for, like it may be 2 weeks before I get back to the email that says, oh no, your kid is in arrears. And so I had situations every year where somewhere between 1 and 5 of my kids had money. And at one point I had a kid that was like somehow, I don't know what was happening, they were eating every day, but then like they also weren't spending the lunch money, so like the money was in their account. I didn't know how that worked either, but that notification is there, and like that's why it's tough for me. Like if, I think we all heard from some people that were saying that, my child only owes a few dollars or $10 or something like that. And like I know that can happen. Like I couldn't imagine how you could get to 100 without knowing it, because you get an email every day. So like when I would check, I'd have like 15 emails saying like, oh no, your kid owes, sometimes it's like $6, $7, but I'd have all these emails because I'd get a notification every day.
So, I mean, I feel confident we can put a dollar amount to it, I think that we can get there tonight, but I think we still got a couple big issues there. One is the collections issue, and then 2, I don't know, I mean, this is a deep rabbit hole, but out of the 13+ thousand that's owed to us, it looked like it was made up of, I don't know, close to 100 kids maybe.
Yeah, we had 24 students with over $100 and 19 more with over $50. So less than 50 students account for a great deal.
And then 24 being more the bigger offenders with 100 and over. I don't know if there's a pattern there or not. Again, I'm certainly not one putting more work on anybody, but out of that 24, have we looked to see, is this grandparents raising kids? Is this, instead of just lumping them into, there are people that's going to abuse the system? Yeah, sure, there's probably a couple of those. But what if that's 5 of the 24, and then the remainder of that is maybe some grandparents? Like I said, not trying to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I think it's worth it. I think for these kids that we're coming in here fighting for every day, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth looking to see if there's a pattern there, and maybe there's not. Maybe all 24 that owe $100 or more, maybe they're abusing the system for all. I don't have those answers right now, but I think somebody in this room should look at that and see what that is.
But I think they do when they're having the first team reach out. This person knows the families very well because they provide a lot of services, and they can easily walk them through filling out the form.
So out of that 24, between the principals in the room, between cafeteria, what do we feel with that 24? Do we feel that it's being abused, or do we feel like, what's the consensus there?
So I go above and beyond. Even if a child has an outstanding debt, I'll arrange a payment plan with them to get them the prom ticket or the homecoming ticket. And few and far between, the initial payment is made to get the ticket, and then the payment plan falls apart after the event until the next event. And I will also say, just as the board discusses it, if you would please, I know you're talking like amounts or whatever, as the high school principal, please clarify what your expectation is upon graduation. that you want me to enforce in graduation? Because if we say $1, is that through graduation? Or at graduation, do we want it to be 0? Happy to do whatever you want, but I just want to know that direction.
That's a good point.
The current standard is 0.
At
Zero balance.
graduation, yes.
I mean,
I like that, yeah.
I agree with it. They should. I mean, like David said, we've all been in that situation, we've all had multiple kids, we get behind, but I've seen the emails, I've got them the $2, $10, whatever, but if they've got a phone, which I guarantee most do, they see their infinite campus, it's right there when you open it. They know that their balance is in arrears, so it's not a surprise. And if my kid comes to me and says, I can't go to prom unless this is paid off, well, I'm gonna pay it off. And I think that's why we got to that point when we did that, because people were just, and we were like, well, the kid has
to keep it from snowballing.
Right.
I want to go to the 4th grade, not a dance, pay my $25.
exactly,
It gets very different for high school
yes.
versus
100%.
elementary school. Like, they have no control over anything in their life, so that just,
Right.
any dollar amount is tough for that because they don't, a lot of these kids only get a handful of great experiences anyway, and so it's like, it's tough to penalize them and take that, which might be the only good thing that happens to them that day.
I don't disagree with you, but if we don't start now, I mean, we have an elementary school student that has $1,000 worth of charges, so, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If not now, when?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that gets back to Jamie's point of
Yeah.
like, let's, this person that owes $1,000, like, let's really find out. We don't need to know any person identifiable information, but like, what is the cause of this? Like, we've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, none of this has worked, so we know like, I mean, that, you can't
Yeah.
write that into the policy, but at least we'll know we've done absolutely the best effort that we possibly could do to move this forward.
Yeah, and that may be to the principals in the room now, I mean, no disrespect, you may be doing that already. I don't know, I'm just, that's why I'm asking it. And I mean, this is like one of those things that just kind of come to light, and I guess in the world of social media, things come to light in different ways now, and then when they come to light, they come to light.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that will help going forward is targeted communication. So if there's 15 students that are affected, that email needs to go to the parents of those 15 students, no one beyond that. No one else
I
needs to
totally
know.
agree, yeah.
And I think that will help too, because then if somebody comes to a board member, if they come to an administrator, they go on Facebook, hey, this is ridiculous, then you won't have 100 other people saying, yes, that is ridiculous because I'm also impacted. Then you've got that social pressure as well of like, oh, this is just me, no one else is getting this because I'm the only one, and maybe there is help, and that may help too. A little like negative influence back to help.
Yeah. So for the sake of moving forward, I mean, I don't know, somebody threw out, I think the Commissioner Nash is, I personally like the current standard of 0 at graduation time. But then I guess we need to come up with a dollar amount. We're saying $100 was throughout. Is that what's in everybody's head, or? And I don't know. Is that what's needed tonight? Is kind of that dollar amount?
That's the direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that dollar amount will determine if they can participate in clubs and dances that are not dances, and athletic events and performing arts and homecoming, everything like that.
I feel like I need to say something too. This year we
Please.
just had our federal review. And so we have a student that leaves our district, graduates, or goes to another district. The federal government's holding the board accountable for those charges if they're not an active student. So that's one thing to consider too, because that means you'll be having to pay that bad debt off. So just so you're aware.
That's a great point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just so that I understand, if they would fill out the free and reduced paperwork today, is that retroactive for the school year?
No, it
Okay.
starts. But I do check my online applications every day to make sure, just in case, because they can fill out, circumstances change tomorrow, they can fill that out, so they have that ability at any time during the school year.
Doing a great job.
This-
So lots of people.
This form has to be filled out, has to be on file every single year, right? So they fill it out, it's not like you fill it out once. Because Because I know we've seen those forms before, but we never.
So we like to get them all filled out within the 10 first days of school. So in August, I'll start sending out. Last year it worked out great. Facebook, I did a QR code, skipped the line so they could get it done before they came to the open house. And then I kind of track anyone who hadn't filled it out. They have 30 days when school starts to fill out a new application. So if they were free this year, they have 30 days, their status will roll over. And if they don't fill it out before that 30 days, then they'll roll off unless I get a new application. But I also send out emails to remind them, hey, we haven't received it and so forth. So if they forgot to fill it out or anything, they're getting that notification, hey, we need this filled out, sent back.
Do you know how long does it take to fill that form out? Is it like 15 minutes?
No, it's probably 5 minutes at the most, and that's if you have 5 children.
And then
It's
I
very
assume it is like your income information, like, but what proof of that is required?
So you'll do you list your household, your students' names, and any income information and it'll also tie into those family members. Or if they have received food stamps, they can put their food stamp number there, which we capture pretty much all our people that are on food stamps and Medicaid from the state direct cert, so that helps as well. So those individuals, as long as they're on that direct cert, they don't have to fill it out, they automatically roll in. And that's another benefit to those families that we know really qualify, because if they don't feel comfortable or they don't fill out that paperwork, they're automatically going to roll in from that level.
And, sorry, another question. Are all those, is that data, those forms all processed by you, or is that someone in the state?
So they come through my online system, and if they do a paper application, I process it. And the online system's like a second checker of qualifying, so it runs through the system, and then I verify that all the information's in there correct. And one nice thing about the online application, if they miss filling out something, it won't let them complete it. So it will let them know to go back and fill out what they're missing. So it's very user-friendly. And then at the end, it'll have a confirmation number so they know it's been processed and it's going over. And say if I was sick that week, I would know when it came, so I could backdate it to the day that application came in. So it can go back as long as the application is filled out, but I can't go back past that application deadline.
One more question before I say something crazy. Do you know about how long it takes, like, how much time does that take you when you get an application filled out? Is that 5 minutes, an hour?
For me, if I was.
For you to do your verification part?
Oh, it's easy, because the system already honestly verifies them, and then I second party it. I just make sure everything's complete. If there's anything that flags in that application that, say they said, I make $500,000 a month, it'll flag me, like, this could be an error, and then I can follow up. So,
Thank you.
it's a very easy.
So my crazy idea that may be a bad idea. Can we mandate this as a form that you have to fill out when you enroll your children in the school? It's just another form, everybody fills it in.
So we did really target that this year. We even asked families that knew they did not qualify. There's a button on it that says do not qualify, but where we could recognize that they did see it, they did have that opportunity, so we're not harassing them like we're looking for your application. We already know they've seen it, they don't qualify, or they're not interested. So, and they get that at the very beginning, and they don't have to put any of their income eligibility, just their students.
So my question is, can we mandate it? I don't know if this is something we need to talk to the attorney about, or
I need to talk to Tricia Brandenburg. She's working for the campus guru, where, you know, now people do online registration. See if there's a way within the campus we can require it.
yeah, if you just make it a required form, that way we'll know that 100% of people have seen it at least once.
Which is good, you might capture them, but what about the high balances that aren't qualified?
Yeah, well,
That's- you know what I mean, like, you'll capture them.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew she did that, because I had to fill that out, and I was like, but I don't want to qualify kids, but I had to fill it out and send it back.
Well, this would be going forward, so then we
Right.
have the data, and then we know, like, what do you, it's, right now, we're being asked to make a very difficult but necessary decision with what I feel is very insufficient data for us because we don't see it. Like, you guys have it, we don't have it, we don't know any of the situations. But if we were to mandate every single person that goes to this school, every student will have this form filled out, even if they said it, and then we can track, like, hey, 1,000 students said, no, they don't qualify, or they filled it out and they didn't qualify, and so it's this group, and we could look at what percentage said they didn't qualify, and then they've got a huge balance versus what percentage we don't have issues, like, where are those things at? I think that would be helpful if we could do that.
I can get you an answer to that tomorrow, and I'll get it Friday.
Okay, great.
One thing to consider is, this is specific discussion about the cafeteria debts. There's additional debts, lost choir uniform,
Yep.
broken computer.
Yep.
Sometimes, I mean, just malicious destruction.
Yep.
So we do have that to consider as well. The mandated form would not solve the lost football jersey or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. Like, I don't mean to like marginalize that stuff. I think that's more concrete that you can be like, hey, this kid didn't bring their uniform back in. But yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of, you hit it on the head, and that's where I was going with my, I don't know, these 24 or 50 kids, I don't know them, I don't know their situation. I'm sitting up here making a decision based on the kids and information that, I don't know.
So then why don't we not put a number on it and leave it up to principal discretion?
Oh, we're gonna love that.
Maybe, well, I'm just saying that's what it is now, it's not put a number on, like, if Mr. Patterson feels like he can get the $10 from everybody who owes $10 to attend this small non-event, and Mr. Nash feels like, hey, I can get hundreds of dollars because you want to go to prom. Like, they know the kids, they know the situations, we don't. So I feel like I'm sure they make exceptions when you have stuff like that. Right, like, yeah, if you owe $10, you can't come, except Johnny, you can come, here's your ticket. Like,
I think that opens us up for worse situations.
Yeah, didn't we do that with the dress code or something
Well,
like
if the board wanted to go that direction, I would ask that I'll make that decision after consulting with principals and share with the board what the number
because
is.
if we put a number on it, they can't make any exceptions.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't want one school saying $10, one school saying $20, and
That's
you know.
what
But I think different things raise to different levels of, if you owe $500, you can't play sports. If you owe $12, you can join the soccer team. There you go, buddy. Like, I feel like we can't, it's not black and white.
But at the elementary school, that's the rule, and then at the middle school, it's $20 and $1,000, and then at the high school, it's like 10 and 50. Like, I don't know, like, that's, if we don't specify it, then you have those situations, and like, I've got a kid who's in high school, middle school, and elementary school, and I'm like, what the hell does this mean? Like, I've got this rule at this school at another school, and like, I don't have $1,500 for this, so what do I do? Like, that's what I worry about.
But you wouldn't owe $1,500 if you paid $10 for your increase.
You just feel legally,
Yeah.
if we left it open that way, I think we're kind of leaving ourselves exposed legally though too. Maybe another attorney question, but if there's not I'll relate it to private business world, there's just certain things that I could get sued at if it's not, like employees wise, if it's not written in the code of conduct, if it's not written in policies and procedures, and it's just at my discretion, oh man, I don't like that exposure.
Sure, but what we're taking away your
Yeah.
privilege is, I'm not saying you can't go to social studies class.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but-
students are entitled to.
Right, but you're saying though that if, let's, call it, intermediate, and Luke gives one kid, okay, this kid can now go to the dance because he owed, two kids owed the same amount, $50, but this kid is for whatever reason, we just left it to the human being to say, I'm gonna allow this kid to go, but this kid not. Oh, you're asking for a lawsuit in that scenario. God forbid it's, you got a girl student, a boy student, or God forbid you got, different ethnicity or something there. You're asking for it.
Well, again, I'm not an attorney, but it says pretty clearly in our code of conduct, it says, senior graduation ceremony, prom, homecoming, senior dinner dance, club participation, performing arts, and athletic participation is a privilege, not a right for students. It says, students who successfully demonstrate good attendance, behavior, academic performance, and are compliant with all school fees and lunch charges can can earn the privilege of participation in these activities and events. So, could we be sued? Probably. I mean, because I think anybody can sue anybody for anything nowadays.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately, but I think we're pretty clear in our conduct that the expectation is there. It's the enforcement, the implementation that is a little fuzzy, just because there's not a dollar.
That's what I was gonna say, if there's a dollar amount on it, then at least that's in the code of conduct, that's there's no, legally, you're covered. And that's, so parents may or may not like it, parents may think, that's ridiculous, but at least it's in there, and legally you protected yourself.
I think it's better for the board to set some dollar, whatever that dollar amount is, to set it. Like, it can be a low dollar amount, that's the decision of the board collectively. Because I think that, then up front, like, and even if somebody says, well, I didn't know I could get help, I didn't know that there was a limit, you'd be like, yes, you can get help, there's 15 different ways you can get help, and yes, there's a limit, it's on page 15 of the code of conduct, it's $10, $50, whatever that number is.
All right, pick a number.
100 was throughout, I think it's a good place to start, I'm good there, but what's everybody else's thoughts?
I felt like that was the number we came up with last time, but I could be wrong.
I'm okay with 100, provided that we maintain what we have today, that you must have a zero balance.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, for graduation,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But if your lunch
I mean, I
fee,
kind of feel like it needs to be zero at the end of the year. I mean, am I crazy in saying that? Like, I don't feel like they should get to carry over balances.
I could get
Like,
on
at the end of the school year, and I mean, I know that would be, I know graduation and prom is easier to collect that than a sixth grader, but when they start school back, if that balance isn't paid, it should be rolled into their fees that they're getting ready to pay, or whatever that situation
But
is.
the problem there
I
is
don't disagree.
you can't stop them, attending.
Yeah, that's what I
I
was
mean, they're
gonna say.
still gonna continue to rack up.
I mean, I understand, but I'm just saying, like, I just feel like it needs to be in there, like, it's due at the end of the year, and then kind of try to collect it in
And then you can't
August.
participate in anything.
Right, anything, until it's, yeah, and there's no more like deal making, there's no more.
Yeah. You got somebody making collection calls towards the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree, it's just, it's one of those things where you shouldn't put anything in there that doesn't have any teeth. Like,
Right.
Absolutely.
we can't, like, you can't say, hey, either it's zero, you can't come to school, like,
Yeah.
they just come right back on, they should be able to, but, it's just.
Tree starts with bridge.
What's that?
God. Oh, God.
Just a joke.
I mean, middle and high school, you guys are the ones that, do you really, and I'm not, when I say this, I'm not like saying you really, but like if you, when the football players go play, do you really check to make sure there's no balances there?
We do. It's more tied to the big events for sure.
Right, right.
Um,
But when football starts, you're not out there.
Yeah, we'll
Or
start
are
by
you?
saying, hey, you came in with X dollars, I need
Okay.
a payment plan established. I mean, I'll work with kids like that.
Okay.
And I hope that's okay, if the board's.
No, I think that's-
Put a plan in place. Some of the kids, I'll tell you, some of the kids are working it off themselves.
I know, the concessions and things.
Yeah, concessions, or, they bring their $20 in, or put it online, or whatever, so, yeah, we do enforce that, and it's a big talking piece over and over and over with the kids in terms of trying to take care of their gear, take care of their
Right.
computer.
That's what I'm saying, I'm not here to punish the kids, but at some point they have to have a little skin in the game of doing something, like, and if you're not gonna take care of your computer, then you're not gonna go to prom.
Multiple.
Yeah.
I think it's just an idea too, on the senior debt being at zero. I think also when you leave our district, it needs to be at zero. So if you have a kid that leaves here with $5,000, that maybe if you want to pursue it, you all will have to pay it. Because that could happen too.
And how would we do that? Like, not release their records until they.
I think we have to
So
take
what can
legal
we do?
action.
I'm saying, wouldn't give the attorney, if they had a high charge, I don't know, it's just.
Yeah, and I thought that earlier when you said that, if the kid's got 1,000 with us and then leaves and goes to another district, we just eat that 1,000. Yeah, and I don't know legally what our,
The small claims court is
Yeah,
an
but by that
option,
point in time,
because
I'm
you're going to spend more on attorney fees.
yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah, trying to get it
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
That's why I said a lot of it, you're just gonna write off as a
I
loss.
don't know if people know,
Yeah,
it's not worth the time.
yeah. All right, so we're back to the dollar amount. Are we
So kind of what I'm hearing is, people are saying, what I'm hearing is everybody can live with $100, but for prom graduation, it's gotta be done.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Or in the year.
And to Mr. Nash,
Yeah.
walk across the aisle, you know, to get, it's zero. I mean, that's our current standard, right?
So at the earlier grades, are there any big,
That's what I was
points where we
thinking.
could?
Yeah, we,
Stop.
elementary, there's really not anything that we're not letting them participate in because of these. I mean, I know we say, like, you know, you won't find out your class teacher until the first day, but eventually they're gonna find out when they send that letter. So on my end, I don't really have anything that I had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and my little one that has that huge balance, part of that too, when I look at that situation, it's probably something that had we been more on it in the beginning, like maybe, I think now it's to a point where, shoot, I don't know how I'm gonna pay off this $1,000. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we help our families by making it lower so that it doesn't rack up so much, and then they get so behind that they can't pay it.
And we have done that in the past, haven't we, Kevin?
What's that?
We run like if you pay your lunch fees, you get a discount. Have we done that in the past?
I feel like we did one time.
I think we tried that. I don't think it really got enough, and it was additional work, right? Like there's not a whole lot, those people that are, you're talking about, the 24 over $100 that seems to motivate them.
Do we have data on what percentage of students get to prom and then can't go because they just don't pay the fees, and what percentage of students don't graduate because they don't pay the fees?
Mr. Nash?
You don't have to know the answer now, but that would be good to have.
We're gonna work with them at the end of the day, in terms of like prom. I mean, we've got kids who found jobs out of the district, we've got them working in the district. We're gonna work with those kids, but do I know the number of kids that become disenfranchised and don't want to attend things because they know they can't? No, I don't know that number. Because a certain percentage of the kids that we are dealing with, we're focused on a motivator that they're not motivated by.
Yeah. With 5 kids, I can relate to that too. They're all motivated differently.
All right, moving forward.
So, 100, does that work for our principals out there? Do you think that's too high, do we need to go lower?
They don't want to tell us what the bad ideas.
We
can take it, guys.
I think 50 is fair.
50?
Okay.
I think 100 is fair. I would, you know, when I see a freshman coming in, and no offense to the middle school at all, but like when I see a freshman coming in with first year, I know. $200-300, I'm cooked. And
Yeah.
Did you see your coat?
Yeah.
We did.
Day one freshman year, that's gonna be a struggle
Right.
for the next 4.
You're already set up to fail.
We're trying to help.
Right.
And I think to have that come in at 100 is manageable.
Adding too many tiers? Is it adding too many tiers to do a high school at one level and then?
I think so. I think you
Yeah,
just keep it
I thought so too. I
simple.
think you gotta keep it, you know.
Yeah.
All right, $50.
Well, I'm, at the end of the day,
See Ms. Cook saying yes, anyone?
yeah, these guys have to, you
Yeah.
guys deal with it on a daily. I don't
I mean,
wanna make.
$50, you could miss your email for 2 weeks and still be okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean, like, your kid's not,
Yeah, you can miss a phone call.
or that's like a jersey, if you've lost your jersey, it's more than a computer, but it's more manageable.
Yeah, we have to do this auctioneer style.
I mean, I could go
You
either
can't see
way.
Mr. Frilling's face, sorry, I have no idea what, I was trying to read their faces, but I can't see his.
Read
Whether 50 or
faces.
100.
Look at that face, read that face.
I don't have fun events. That's what it made me realize. I don't have fun events. You're like, God, I need to have some fun events.
Yeah, you have no sports, no, it's all, yeah.
I mean, I'm not the technology guy, he can speak for it, but at the middle school, you get some broken Chromebooks that students have to pay for, but I think right off the bat, the cheapest thing that we have is like $89 worth of a fixed fee, like whether it's a screen, that's $50, and then labor.
for that, and, I think the cheapest that I've sent home for a bill would be around $89, I think. Something like that, I mean, so, as soon as you hit that, it's right at 50, you know, and then if that's the day before dance or something like that, that's a little bit different than a lunch charge too.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think those are things to consider.
That's a good point.
But is that, I'm sorry,
I will-
your point is make it 100 or make it 50? I'm not following.
I think you couldn't go wrong either way, but I don't think it needs to be above 100.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're only charging for intentional damage, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
what I'm
like-
saying, yeah.
Here is it, 700 to 1200.
$50.
Sold.
50.
50?
I just feel like it's more manageable when you, if you are struggling, if you get that $50 bill or 100, but that's more attainable than a large amount.
You guys okay with 50?
I am,
Good in here?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Stretch up that 100 with that 50.
And in a year, I think that's big, because I think Nancy's
Yeah.
right, you're already starting out in the hole, and now the next principal or whatever has to deal with that.
Well, that's, I think, yeah, whatever we can do at the end of the year to collect and get that to zero. But again, what teeth do we have to enforce? I don't know that answer.
Well, we're never gonna eliminate this, but the goal is to reduce it to the point where it doesn't become a significant burden on the general fund every year that loan is sold.
Good point, yeah.
So I mean, if we're talking 100, we're talking about 3 elementary students, 2 middle school students, or 2 intermediate students, 9 at the middle, 9 or 10 at the high school. So as a principal, that's a number I can manage.
Mhm.
Right. So.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say before we move on about that?
We beat that up pretty good.
Okay, thank you guys. Moving into our principal's ECC bridge report, does anyone have any questions about that for our principals?
Good news on the bridge report, looks like lots of continued success there.
All right, moving into our attendance and enrollment report.
Well, I don't know if I really need to come up. We don't have any attendance numbers. It starts tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. So, as far as enrollment goes, we are down 5 people, 5 kids wide, but I do not have attendance for you. So I'll have 2 months for you next month. If we did end today, we would be at 95.08 for the district. But again, that's not what your month 9 will actually be. So we've done okay this month.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, moving into construction report, did everyone get a chance to look at that? Any questions? All right, moving into our superintendent non-work days. Everyone get a chance to look at that? All right, moving into personnel. A lot of moving happening. Hopefully everyone got a chance to look at that. And then next we have other. Do you have anything?
Just very quickly, yesterday we wrapped up KSA testing, and just want to thank Michelle. She's our DAC and all of the VACs and principals. It's a really stressful time of year, and that went really smoothly. We even had a surprise visit by KDE at the intermediate school, which is always fun.
And the safety marshal.
And the safety marshal at the same time. So that was interesting, but both visits went really well. I just want to thank everybody for their efforts there. We're just now doing some makeups for KSA. The bulk of that is finished. Just board members, I think a date has been set for my evaluation. So I will get you those materials in the same format I shared with you last year. I'll get that to you in early June, right after graduation. If there's anything additional that you want, please let me know. I'll be happy to get that for you ahead of time, so you have plenty of time to look at that and digest it. And that's all right.
Anyone else have anything else?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, I didn't want to bring it up in personnel, but can we talk to the sub situation? Because I know that we're, everybody's struggling as a district. But I'm wondering, like, what kind of training are we giving these subs as they're coming in? Especially the younger ones that have just been recent students? Because I'm hearing things from the high school students
Okay.
about some questionable things that are going on with recent graduates that are younger. So like, they're not that far removed, which I don't have a problem with them being there, but I do have a problem with things that they're talking or sharing to the kids about. So like, are we doing, or can we do some kind of training with the subs about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate
Absolutely.
at that age? Because they are so closely related.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, maybe sounds like I may need to get some more information after the meeting.
oh, I'm happy to. It's nothing like, if it was major, and I've just been finding out about it more this week,
Okay.
per se.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
Yeah.
these things shouldn't be discussed or talked about.
Yeah, it's
Not-
difficult.
It's nothing like I'm mad about, but.
Right. As a 21-year-old, you're
Right.
coming in subbing in a room of seniors that
Yes,
you've known your whole life.
Exactly.
That's a challenge.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know we're in I mean, I know every district's in situations, so I'm not complaining that they're there. I'm glad they're there, but I just feel like if they're gonna be that young and they're gonna be that close in age, we should talk about some things with them and what they can and can't do.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything? Thank you. All right, so we will move into our recommended board motions. First, I have the approval of the minutes for April 24th, 2025, special meeting. May I have a first? First by Jamie, discussion or questions? Thank you, Jamie, for leading that for me in my unexpected absence.
Nailed it.
To say. I crossed it, but whatever.
May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the superintendent's expense report. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by David, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of pay application 27 for Morel Construction, Walton Verona Intermediate School. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of pay application 3 for Ashley Builders Group, Walton Verona District Office renovation. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Megan. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of pay application 3 for GRW and Lockard Construction, Walton Verona Intermediate School Wastewater Treatment Plan. May I have a first?
Make it.
First by David. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the 2025-2026 Pledge of Collateral Agreement with Heritage Bank. May I have a first? First by Jamie. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the tentative budget for 2025-2026. May I have a first?
First.
First by David. Mr. Ryan.
Yes. So I sent some information out yesterday, but I'll go over that real quick. At the top, as usual, you have your changes in revenues from last year to this year. And then, so you can see those numbers were up about 1.25 from last year. That's about $970,000 from the time of the draft budget. And a lot of that, things we approved last month with the salary increases and the additional positions. So that was about 890, I think I put it on the email. And then we had about another $70,000 in operating costs that increased. So a lot of that was tied up in the intermediate school, additional utilities and stuff, since we're going to operate a full year there this year. And so that's reflected down on the bottom. Most of those things you can see in red were things that were added after the draft budget. Almost all salary increases and position additions. The one thing you might see, we shifted some expense for a vehicle from plant and operations maintenance trucks over to transportation to accommodate the purchase of a school van. So that we've kind of got the maintenance trucks that we need for now. The next things that are kind of on the list are school vans. And so that was why there was kind of a larger increase there. That was $75,000 of that. And then you'll see at the very bottom, the debt service and fund transfers, that those numbers typically don't drop, right? But that was for a payment on a bus lease that we just made the last payment on back in March. So that dropped off, and that's why that decreased. If you skip down to the bottom, personnel expenses, you can see are about 77% of the overall budget. It's a slight increase, which I would expect because the majority of the increase in the budget was salaries. Still well under that 80% kind of high water mark that we want to avoid. And contingency did go down a little bit. The dollar amount's still the same, but the denominator got bigger, so it went down just a little. So that's all I have. It really was kind of the draft budget plus what we added last month was 99% of what the change was. Does anybody have any specific questions on other items?
Thank you for the email, that really helps too. All right, may I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval to pay fiscal year 26 student worker rate of $12 an hour beginning May 21st, 2025. May I have a first? First by Jamie, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
Second.
Second by David, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the treasurer's report. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Megan, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the orders of the treasurers, the bills. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by David, discussion or questions? May I have a second? Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the 2025-2026 fidelity bonds for Kevin Ryan and Brittany Robinson. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussion or questions? Can't run away. May I have a second? Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the Walton Independent School District Technology Plan for 2025-2026. May I have a first? First by Jamie, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving to the approval, the MOA between NKU and WVIS School-Based Scholars Dual Credit Program for 2025-2026. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of school day start and end times for grades K through 12. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Megan, discussion or questions?
think, go fairly good with that this year with the intermediate school and
Yeah, we're requesting a 5-minute change, and I'll let Rob speak to this because I know that I will mess it up. There's just a 5-minute difference.
Yeah, it went better than good, JV. It went better, way better than we ever dreamed it would. So we're moving things backward in time in 5 minutes. So to keep the time that the intermediate kids are sitting around on the school bus waiting for the elementary kids to come out to load buses. So
yeah, I mean,
it'll be beneficial to do that.
it's been impressive to just watch it all. You know, I still got in intermediate and we're over in middle and then, so it's been very impressive. I think the staff's done an amazing job this year with everything.
That's credit to Luke and them at the intermediate, getting the kids moving, and Chris and the drivers being ready. And
Yeah. Oh no, I get that Luke every day. I'm like 3 cars and he's out there stopping the cars, letting the buses through, and I'm like, Luke, there's enough room for a couple cars, but no, he keeps us all at bay.
No special privilege.
I'm like, you know who I am? He's like, I don't care. He must not see me back here.
That's it. That.
No, it's truly well done by everybody.
Do I have a second?
I.
Megan.
I can make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of the 2025-2026 District Code of Conduct. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Jamie, and of course we'll be updating the verbiage that we all just discussed.
I'll be sure you get a copy of that in writing, okay, before it goes out to general public, so you see what's in there.
Yep, sounds good. May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of common carriers, Delta Airlines, and budget car rental for Quest trip to Minneapolis and Minnesota. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
Minnesota. First by David, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Thanks by Albert, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of contract for Strong Vision Services LLC for 2025-2026. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by David, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll move it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of contract for A Step Ahead Pediatric Therapy for 2025-2026. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
Good.
First by Megan. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into the approval of MOU between KTL Speech, Physical, and Occupational Therapy and Walton Vernon Independent Schools. May I have a first? First by David. Discussion or questions? May I have a second? Second by Jamie. All in favor?
I like everybody.
Motion passes 5-0. Moving to the approval of MOU between Children's Home of Northern Kentucky Behavioral Health and Walton Vernon Independent Schools. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Aubrey. Discussion or questions? May I have a second? Second by Jamie. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving to the approval to hire emergency subs for 2025-2026 school year.
I'll make it.
First by Megan. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
Second.
Second by David. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving to the approval of driver agreement for board-owned vehicles in Ayers in Clinkenbeard, A. Amstutz. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Albert. Discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is approval of field trips. May I have a first?
I'll make it.
First by Megan, discussion or questions? May I have a second?
Second.
Second by David, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have adjournment. May I have a first?
Make it.
First by Jamie. Discussion or
Every time.
discussion or questions? May I have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Albert, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned at 7:06.